Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decipher the often confusing world of corporate filings. Today we are diving into Calavo Grow's latest quarterly report. This company is all about avocados and other fresh and prepared foods. After this report, you might need a financial health check yourself because there are some twists in this report. First off, as always, a reminder. This report, like most, has forward-looking statements, basically predictions about the future. These are not guarantees. Things can change quickly, especially with weather, market prices, and even cyber attacks. Keep that in mind. Let's jump into the numbers. Specifically, the condensed consolidated balance sheets. It's like a corporate health check. We are looking at what the company owns, such as assets, and what it owes. Let's see where it's at as of January compared to last October. One key number is accounts receivable net. This is the money owed to Calavo by its customers. It's about $47 million. It increased since October, which is usually a good sign if sales are up. Now look at their cash and cash equivalents. These are their readily available funds. It went down nearly 10 million since October, but it's not too concerning since it's still over 48 million. Next, their inventories are also up about 5 million since October. This represents the value of their avocados and other products ready to be sold. Looking at the grand total, their assets come in at almost $300 million. This is just a little bit lower than it was in October. This means in general that the company financial position did not change that much over the past 3 months. Now let's move on to the income statement, which shows if the company is making or losing money over a period of time. Their net sales were about $154 million for the 3 months ended in January. This is up significantly from about $124 million from last year. This is good news because it means they are selling more product. Gross profits after subtracting the direct costs of making their products also increased from around $10 million to almost $16 million this year. They are making more money relative to how much it cost to grow and prepare their products. However, they also spent a bit more on selling, general and administrative or SG&A expenses like salaries, marketing and rent, as expenses went up from $10 million to $13 million. Not a great thing, but still on the lower end. Ultimately, Calavo had a net income profit after all expenses of $4 million. That's a huge improvement compared to a loss of $6.2 million last year. The earnings per share tells you how much profit they made for each share of stock. Their net income from continuing operations per share is $0.25, which is positive again compared to a loss in the prior year. While we see that the company had positive net income, we also need to know how much actual cash they spent or made. So look for net cash used in provided by operating activities. It had negative 4.4 million, meaning they used more cash than they made. Their cash on hand or cash equivalents end of period is almost $9 million less than what it was last year. Shareholders' equity, it's an important metric. This section shows balance January 31, 2025 shares and the total equity after taking into account stocks that may have been issued, dividends paid, and of course net income. Next is a breakdown of how their different business segments are doing, such as fresh and prepared. As avocados make up the bulk of the fresh numbers, the total gross sales for fresh is about 140 million and then 16 million for the prepared business. Calavo relies heavily on avocados with smaller numbers coming from tomatoes and papayas. Looking at other events and potential problems, there's a discussion of settlements and legal wrangling, most of which do not seem material. Let's look at the Mexican IVA taxes receivable. This amount is quite high at almost 50 million and concerns VAT value added tax that the Mexican government owes Calavo. This is a long-running issue and is something to keep an eye on. This section makes it sound like there is no guarantee to get these refunds. Finally, there is a statement on subsequent events to ensure that there have been no further large events that can affect the report to collect. Now let's zoom out and put this all together. Calavo growers are showing some signs of improvement, especially in sales and profitability. The price of avocados can affect these numbers greatly, so the company is dependent on favorable avocado market conditions. One thing that would be good is to keep a lid on spending. The tax issues in Mexico are a drag, but the company is pushing to resolve those. But in general, while not perfect, the arrow is pointing upward, the company being in a better place compared to last year. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like this video, share it with anyone who invests, and of course subscribe to Corporate Decoder for more insights into the world of business filings.